we're doing this. Well, that changes the complexion of things. All right. See if we can. All right. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, it's tough to tell if this is even like a thing. But whatever, you know, it's Saturday night, so, right? No, it's Friday night. It is Friday night. This is grape juice, so we're good. Yeah, it's Friday night here in Los Angeles. I'm on Miracle Mile. Also, Beverly Grove, Mid-City, Beverly Hills. Los Angeles. Born and raised. Did a bunch of stuff. I don't even know. Is anybody even on? Probably not. We're just vibing. It's the JOHNiVERSE Friday night. I spent the day doing a bunch of acting. It was fun. I got to do a bunch of comedy videos for menopause supplements for a Singapore business company. Did a bunch of funny sketches with a couple of actresses. Got to wear a couple of funny wigs. That was cool. Beautiful day out here in LA today. Truly living the dream. It's funny because the dream becomes very individual, like bespoke. So it's like, obviously there's big things when you go, oh, I'm living the dream. You get an award, there's an accomplishment, a big paycheck, whatever. But a lot of times when you're living the dream, it's little things that matter to you. Like today there was like, I was like, oh, so I was going to the shoot. It's just content creator shoot. It's not like, in the grand scheme of things, a tiny thing. But for me, it was a big day. It was a fun day. And to get there, it was in Culver City. I was going to take my e-scooter, so I took had to take this new route. And it's all, personal growth. So I was going to go down this new route. I was like, oh, man. I was like, you know what? I'll trust the app. I'm going to go down this new route. Turned out it was like this like 4 mile stretch of pristine LA neighborhoods I'd never been in that were just like, oh, it was 70 and sunny, and for like 20 minutes, like everything in the world was right. And trust me, I'm a guy who knows that everything in the world is not right. Like, I mean, to go into detail, like West Point grad, like I worked on war staff, and the shit was super corrupt, and I had to keep it to myself forever. And so, like, when I go down a street on a day like this, like, dude, it's a break for me to be like, oh, cool. There's like a pocket of like nice reality, and it was like that. And then I get to the shoot and just have a great fun day, make a bunch of comedic videos for menopause medication, and work with a bunch of cool people, and then Uber back with this like cool Muslim yellow cab driver Fareem, and like he's telling me all his like theories on God and this and that, and his theories on like altruistic driving, which is interesting because I just like wrapped up like 6 months of Lyft driving, and he was like hitting all the like the notes I was like that I'd figured out or like became self-evident, and that kind of made like a minor miracle happen for him. Basically made his name pop up on a license plate. Like to the point where he's like, yeah, that's pretty much my name on a vanity plate, which apparently is a low-key like thing that I make happen. So just know when you hit like certain levels, like you can make like the vanity plates like are also codes. It's like divine encryption. Anyway, so I, get home, a whole bunch of shit going down. Like it's dope. Forget where this began exactly. Oh, and Morgan wished me a happy birthday, which is great. It's not. It's like literally like half a year off my birthday, but it was just like today was like my birthday in a way. So she pretty much nailed it. I'm so far away from the screen. I can't even tell. Is anybody even on? Is this like, am I live streaming to myself? Is this for the historical records? It's great, but for like the 10 years where it has like 2 views, I just look like an idiot, which I'm willing to live with. Dadaism. Performing to an audience of none when you know you're like super quality is also a form of Dadaism. Like I literally headlined the Hollywood Improv in '07, so it was like 18 years ago. And yeah, so that's part of the absurd equation of taking that type of talent and doing things like street performing, doing these like obscure niche art. And when they get integrated into like a higher dimensional life path, they end up making sense. And then at some point they come together, which is kind of the point I'm at. They're kind of just all coming together. And like it is what it is thing. Is anybody even on? Dude, I'm so far away. Like, if you're here, say what's up in the comments just so I can see, like, register if anybody's even on. I mean, I'm just going to keep letting it rip anyway. This is sort of a vibe out. Coming from the heart of LA, Beverly Hills. We're just, like, putting the freedom vibe out. It's like big freedom vibes. Multi-dimensional freedom vibes. So there's definitely life on other planets. It's just like no debate. There's no reason for debate at this point. Like if you've done the math, if you like looked into the relevant information, obviously there's life on other planets. Obviously that life from other planets has been visiting Earth from like at least the last half century. Solid evidence from every country on Earth to support the fact that there's off-planet life visiting Earth. Just on YouTube alone, there's like hundreds of thousands of hours of videos of off-Earth spacecraft being recorded by people from basically just regular people from every country on Earth. and it's like 20 or 30 years worth of information. I mean, that's just on YouTube. There's nothing like crazy about that. And basically, every country on Earth has credible footage of spaceships from other planets visiting their country. So, using the scientific method and any kind of like reasonable probability statistics measure that like insurance company use to determine the veracity of a claim, in every forensic mathematical sense, proof of life from other worlds has been sufficiently satisfied here on Earth. And from like basically all the countries on Earth that keep stats can attest to that. So yeah, so that's the science at work in terms of are we alone in the universe? No, Earth has now gathered enough information and evidence to conclude that no, in fact, we are not alone in the universe. And that's just like, you take any big data and go to any reputable big data analyst, and if you give them the proper big data in regards to credible off-planet ship witnesses, I mean, you're gonna get like literally millions of people from across the planet with completely verifiable, valid off-planet ship witnessing, and then it can just like register in the consciousness, and we can move forward. And it's like multiple generations of people at this point. So like, even if we had to take it to alien court, they'd be like, yeah, they got these humans got us. Even by alien legal standards, they got us. Does anybody know any good alien lawyers? I guess that's what we need. We need like the Milky Way's best lawyers. I actually do think in a Douglas Adams way that some of the current things on Earth, including like terraforming, which is using technology to affect the Earth's, climate and topography and all that. I do think it exists, and I think that given the proof of off-planet life, that if we just like write the right memorandums and submit them to the right like galactic bureaucracies, I think like we can get the tech that we want to fix Earth pretty quick from these like other civilizations. I honestly think it's like hilarious. It might be a hilariously like simple transaction if we can just like come to our senses and actually petition fucking otherworldly political bodies. I do think that I think it's just like a weird thing. We're like in an ignorance envelope. Like we're on the other side of first contact, so there would be others. We're not apprised of our galactic options, so to say, like our galactic Mirandas. Yeah. So there's that. Our galactic Mirandas. I can't even tell. Was there anybody even on? I'll just repost this as galactic Mirandas. Yeah, if you haven't looked into my other videos, yeah, one of the things that happens during my life is like, you may know me for the comedy or like, this or that. I've been doing a lot of stuff for over 20 years. But yeah, the whole time from like 81 till like 2018, I was getting abducted by the Greys, those aliens, the gray ones with the big heads and the eyes. Like I was one of those abductees, and I got abducted multiple hundreds of times. It was like a crazy aspect of my life, and it stretched from childhood all the way. I mean, through my time at West Point, like high school, West Point, time in the Army, time in Hollywood, a whole bunch of times, up until 2018, which was my West Point 20th reunion. Was the last time, and I got taken with two other people at that event. And only recently have I been able to start decompressing what happened in those like so many sessions that occurred, because I became lucid and woke up during abductions like early on, and then it turned into training at a certain point, and now I have the receipts, like, because it turned into training somewhere like when I was at West Point in the 90s, and then since, that's like a weird proposition scientifically, like, you know, per the scientific method, that's a tough one to like swallow, but it turned out to be true because I started seeing the correlations between the abductions and the physical development, like at West Point and moving forward. And you know, fast forward now, have enough like body of evidence to go, okay, cool, like there was causation, all stuff. Basically, it was like this higher level training, like a evolutionary accessory pit, or like a pit crew, like an evolutionary pit crew, and they're accelerating it. Not to say that that was their intent at first. I think I just got caught up in one of their. They were trying to like do eugenics to get out of their situation, so they were doing DNA harvesting and all this like biometric stuff, which is like real unconscionable because it was against the will of the participants, like me included, and my brother. And at a certain point, I don't think it was their intent for me to have turned into like a training subject. I think what happened was there was this moment where, you know, I was able to express my sovereignty, and then it turned the tides, and then eventually, like, they found that I expressed, they were just using me as a test subject. And at a certain point, I was like, look, dude, I don't want to get super deep into it, but like basically I told them like the story of Jesus. Like then they found the light in me, and they were like, oh yeah, you can't fucking do that. You can't get away with that with humans because we're divine creatures, which is true. And then everything twists around into like training, and that was based on discussions I had with my brother about, like, we surmised that these things were trying to eugenics their way out of the situation when they were really just disconnected from source, aka God. And so we were just like, okay, fine. And it was this whole thing that occurred, and then the whole nature of the relationship changed. By the time I got to West Point, they were like training me on the abductions, and then it would correlate to training at West Point, and then so on and so forth. It went, graduated in 98, so you can imagine, like, use Moore's law and a few other accelerant calculus to like figure out like where it ended up. And yeah, I can talk about it because the game strategy I did and all this other stuff, like, it all panned out like 2018 or whatever. So now we're just in the ascended timeline that's merging and all that good stuff, like a lot of people predicted. And I could give my personal perspectives on it or whatever, and I probably will in greater detail as like we get safer into the ascended timeline. But suffice to say that, yeah, I had a lot of extraordinary experiences as a result of like my sequencing in this, and that makes me capable of hearing and listening, speaking to, and receiving from other people that did all this stuff, like indigo children and starseeds, light workers, all those, angelic forms, like, and also like their counterparts. Like, I understand, like, that negative aspect of like an angelic being is a demonic being, and like I've had education in the dark arts and like dealt with evil, so in those regards I can see them as well. So it's rather, equitable, and I don't want to say magnanimous, but I also have the ability to know that what this world is, so I can have some distance from it in order to have some perspective on it, and us as just inhabitants of it, and be like relatably compassionate about it. I'm gonna spend the last like 6 months fucking driving Lyft, so what do you want? Is what it is. It's kind of like the dude from The Big Lebowski. You just sort of you get into the groove and like, boom, all of a sudden, it's like the Buddhists say, like, you know, get in the stream of life, and that takes you into the enlightenment and all that, and it's true. You know, all the things the great sages and mystics and wise people and enlightened people that say it's true. Like, and the tropes are true and the cliches are true. And the thing is to, like, you know, are your tropes and cliches and enlightenment and like life flow, are they, you know, where's their trajectory? If it's going up, good. If it's going down, you know, you want to like turn that frown upside down. Get it going up. And eventually, as long as you keep going up and up, you know, just put one foot in front of the other, just keep going one step up at a time. Eventually, yeah, you get to the supreme light. Yeah, for now, I'm still on Earth like everybody else, so it's not like some fucking holier than now thing. But the steps do work, and the universe does reveal itself to you, so got that going for me. Anyway, so, you know, it's a little live stream, and that's the vibe we're putting up here from LA, Beverly Hills, Miracle Mile. I like the Miracle Mile aspect. It's this cultural tip here that I found. It's kind of like Switzerland in the sense that it's this cultural point in LA where Miracle Mile is this very small, like 1.5 mile strip on Wilshire, right where Beverly Hills hits Beverly Grove and Greater LA, and also Mid-City, and it's like right next to Hollywood. And if you look at the spot, if you look at the cultural spot, it's like on an astral level with like their dimensional level and the height, it almost looks like how Switzerland happens, where these different cultures of LA all sort of like peak into this like little area called Miracle Mile on the energy level. And I've been here at this spot 3.5 years. And there's a definite like emanation factor from Miracle Mile. It's a manifesting vortex. And there's a lot of strong vortexes in LA, but Miracle Mile is a particular one. And I didn't know about it until I started living here. At first, for a little bit Bermuda Triangle-y, but then turned out to be Miracle Mile. And the interesting part for me was I was a Miracle Man in Monkey Mountain, that used to train in Magic Mountain, and then I ended up at Miracle Mile. So there you go. And on that note, I hope whatever you're doing great. Follow your dreams. And most of all, have fun. Everybody have fun. Let's see. The hilarious. This is the end credits. Like, dude, how do I end my stream? I fucking love green screen. By the way, I love green screen.